welcome once again to that primetime show, that must-see TV on YT, Pigskin Facts, History and News. I am your host of hosts, Fred. Welcome once again to Pigskin Facts, History and News. Well, hail Skins Nation, the draft is officially over, and I got some good news. We had a very good draft. Very, very good draft. If this is your first time watching, thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button below. Give me a thumbs up. Also, if you've been watching, thank you for watching. Continue to tell people our show is going to get better and better, and we're going to move on. Today, we're just basically going to cover the rest of the draft. And in the first round, we selected the best player that coming out of all of college this year, defensive end out of Ohio State, Chase Young. And now we had already had a good defensive line. Now it's going to become a great defensive line. And I believe that we will be the best defensive front in the NFL. We chose Chase Young, second pick of the 2020 NFL draft out of Ohio State. Generational player, game changer, game wrecker, the Predator. What more can you say? He's going to wreak havoc on the NFC East. He's going to wreak havoc in the NFL. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Just want to go over with you the rest of the draft. Round 2 was Friday, rounds 2 and 3. Round 2, we did not have a pick, of course. We moved up in the first round last year to acquire Montez Sweat in the first round. So that was given over to Indianapolis. So therefore, we didn't have a round 2 pick. We had a round 3 pick. Round 3 pick, number 66. We drafted out of Memphis, wide receiver / running back, Antonio Gibson. And I tell you, this guy is like, they said this guy is like a Swiss Army knife. We can put him all over the field, and this man, he can do damage. And they've already compared him to like a Christian McCaffrey. You know what he can do. He plays running back. They can line him up in the slot as a wide receiver. Do anything. Run him through jet sweeps. They can put the man all over the field, put him at flanker, whatever, halfback. The guy is phenomenal. But Antonio Gibson was compared to Christian McCaffrey, and we definitely have a weapon. Dwayne Haskins has a weapon, and there's plenty more to come because I think we had a very decent draft. I'm going to give a overall draft grade when I'm done, but I'm going to go on and give each player a grade as I go through. Chase Young, grade A+, best player coming out of college, hands down. Antonio Gibson, he's a big guy, 6 foot, 228 pounds. He runs a 4.39 in the 40. He's fast. He's elusive. He's hard to tackle. He's hard to bring down. And for a guy that only had 77 touches in his last year of college, he had 14 touchdowns. That's phenomenal. So looking forward to him, hybrid running back / wide receiver. The man, he's going to be putty in offensive coordinator Scott Turner's hands because he can do so many things with this guy. And if you look at Scott Turner's offense and what he did with Carolina, what he did with Christian McCaffrey, so just imagine the possibilities with this guy under the tutelage of offensive coordinator Scott Turner, son of former Redskins coach Norv Turner. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to that and to see how the Redskins offense is going to look this year. And we're a much better team. I can tell you, after this draft, we're a much better team. And even after the draft was over, there was another surprise. There was a surprise. So awesome. Round four, we had 2 picks in round 4 at 107. At pick number 107, we selected Sadiq Charles, offensive tackle out of LSU. and he kind of went further down in the draft. He could have been a higher draft pick, but due to some character issues off the field, I guess that kind of hurt the stock a little bit, but not really. We got him. Except he's an exceptional athlete, um, and I'm sure the character issues, all that'll be fixed, no problem. Um, yeah, I believe he's a very good quality pick, awesome pick. Um, Trent Williams, we finally traded Trent Williams. More on that in a moment. So Sadiq Charles comes in, and I believe he will fill a need. I think he plays left tackle. I think he played left tackle at LSU. So he was protecting Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow threw 60 touchdown passes. So what does that tell you? That guy was highly protected on the line. Sadiq Charles, he comes in at 6'4", 322 pounds. He has 33-inch arms, big guy. Um, so they'll probably bring him in. Probably, who knows? Probably have him bulk up even more. Work further on his technique from the pro level. And I think this guy is gonna be a main stable for years to come on the offensive line. So I'm looking forward to that. Uh, let's see what else. Okay, I'm going to give Sadiq Charles. I gave him an A minus. I think it was an excellent pick, and I think he's going to come in and start right away, and I think he's going to fill the need at left tackle. Uh, we had another pick around 4 at pick 142. The Redskins selected out of the College of Liberty, Antonio Gandy Golden. Now, this guy right here, a lot of people are saying is one of the sleepers, is one of the steals of the draft. This guy is a tall wide receiver, 6'4", uh, 220 pounds, got great hands. I never even heard of this guy um, prior to the draft, and I went did my little research, and I watched some highlights of this guy, and this dude is phenomenal. This dude is a thoroughbred, and he's going to be something else in the Redskins offense. I see him as a big red zone target up close. Um, he's a guy that catches the ball, has great hands, has great extension. When he gets up in the air, catches the ball, and when he comes down, the dude is powerful. He's hard to tackle. He's like a horse. Um, his senior year, at Liberty, he had 79 catches for 1,396 yards. He had 10 touchdowns, and the guy is fast, very productive, and that's another weapon in the offense. That's another weapon at Dwayne Haskins' disposal that he has. So I think it was an excellent pick. And from what I saw from this guy, I was impressed. So I'm going to grade him an A. Um, and I think that the Redskins definitely filled the need at wide receiver. We also got the other Antonio Gibson. They could line him up at receiver or running back. So we have different pieces to the puzzle. And I think that what Kyle Smith and Coach Ron Rivera looked for in the draft was versatility in players that are interchangeable, that can be moved around to different parts of the field, and that can operate and do different things well. And that's what you want. So I think this was a great draft, and I think they looked at these guys very extensively long before they made the decision. And just watching the highlights and watching the film of these guys is wonderful, And some people would look at it like, oh, who is this guy? This is disappointing. No, go check this guy's highlights out. Antonio Golden out of Liberty. Check this dude out. So he's coming in, and we filled the need at wide receiver. We desperately needed one, and we got one. So we go on to round 5. Round 5 with the 156th pick. In the draft, we selected guard/center Keith Ismail from San Diego State. Good player. Good blocker, a little bit undersized, but I'm sure in the NFL they'll develop him and get him bulked up or whatever. He probably won't come in and start right away, but he adds depth to the offensive line, which we need. Chase Roulier, our center, I think he has one more year left on his contract, and so when that guy's gone, this guy will be here, so that'll be remaining depth on the offensive line. He comes in, he's 6'3", 309. Like I said, he's a little bit undersized, but he's a developmental type player, and it was a pretty decent choice. So I'm gonna give the grade of Keith Ismail out of San Diego State. I'm gonna give him a C plus. Round 5 at the 162nd pick. This was a very, very good pick to me. Surprising. It was a very good pick. Khalid Hudson, the hybrid safety linebacker out of the University of Michigan. And man, you got to watch the highlights of this guy. This guy was all over the field. I mean, this guy was stopping runs for losses. I mean, he was just up against the line right where the ball was to smother the play. This guy was causing all kind of problems for offenses in college. This guy is a phenomenal tackle. He had his senior year, he had 101 tackles, 1.5 sacks. But even though he only had 1.5 sacks, the guy he affects and is detrimental to offenses. This guy, I mean, he was all over the place. In college, he also was phenomenal on special teams. He blocked 5 punts during his time at Michigan. 5 punts. That's phenomenal. So this guy, they could bring this guy in, put him on special teams, and let him cut loose. Let him be a demon and let him cut loose and do his thing. And special talent. They could put him at linebacker. He's 5'11", 224 pounds. They could put him at safety. Another player that's interchangeable, that's very good at what he does and where he moves and where he goes, and plug him in. Even if he starts out just playing in special teams, this guy is special. 5 block punts in college. So I believe in the pros. There's many more to come, and that trend is going to continue. Like I said, great athlete, great in special teams, great tackler, and we're gonna see. I can't wait. Khalid Hudson out of Michigan was the 5th round pick at 162, and I'm going to grade that a B plus. Round 6, there were no picks. So we go to round 7. We selected safety Cameron Curl out of Arkansas. Not a whole lot on him. Good, solid player. Decent tackler who'll probably come in and be a backup, I guess, behind the safety position. They'll most likely put him on special teams, or if not, he doesn't make it to the team, they'll put him on the practice squad. But it was a decent pick, and it was one of the, like, I would call it maybe like a low risk pick, because some picks, you want to try to, I guess the coaching staff wants to stay safe, and then other picks you take a risk, but this guy was a low risk pick. So I'm grading it a C. Cameron Curl out of Arkansas. The last pick, 229. Now this guy could have went a lot higher, and the only reason why he didn't was because he was injured throughout his college career. James Smith, defensive end, James Smith Williams out of North Carolina State. His game has upside. Like I said, he battled a lot of injuries in college, so that kind of hurt his draft potential. However, this was still a very good pick. This guy's a great athlete. Played in 11 games in 2018. He had 6 sacks, 36 total stops, playing on the edge. So they'll most likely bring him in, and he'll probably be like a backup to Chase Young. But he'll most likely be competing for a spot against the likes of defensive end Nate Orchard, Jordan Brailford, or Ryan B for a starting spot. So there'll be a lot of competition coming in. So looking forward to this guy, and I graded him a B plus. I think it's a good value pick if he can get healthy. Who knows what this guy can do? So that's it for the 2020 Washington Redskins NFL draft. 8 picks. I thought it was a very good draft. Very, very good quality of players that they looked at. Some filled needs, and others were just the best player on the board. And sometimes that's what you got to go with to make your team better, to develop your team and improve. So I'm going to give this overall draft grade. I compiled everything. I looked at everything. And I'm going to give it an overall draft grade of a B+. I thought the Redskins did well. I think the last 3 or 4 years, they've done very well in the draft. Kudos to NFL. I can't even remember his position. He was used to be a scout. He's in a higher position now, player developmental, I believe. Kyle Smith, and I think he would make a great GM. We haven't made a decision on who our GM would be, but looking forward to that. Undrafted. We signed 4 undrafted free agents. 2 of them are wide receivers. Can't remember where they're from exactly, but I'm not going to get into that. 2 are wide receivers. And I think we had another defensive end, I think. And the biggest surprise of all, because if you notice, we had a need at wide receiver, tight end, and offensive line. Offensive line needs met during the draft. Defensive end needs met during the draft. Wide receiver. Wide receiver, offensive tackle needs met during the draft. But we didn't feel the need as far as the draft was concerned at tight end. But yesterday, we got undrafted, good news, undrafted free agent. We got Thaddeus Moss, tight end from LSU. Hellskins, tight end, Thaddeus Moss, son of the former wide receiver and Hall of Famer Randy Moss. His son, Thaddeus Moss, great athlete. Only reason why he went undrafted, he fractured his foot, which required surgery. So that brought his draft stock down. And he was available. This guy, I couldn't believe it. I talked to my nephew yesterday, my nephew Rocco, because he asked me, what's up, Rocco? Love you, man. What's up, Xavier? Love you, man. Kim, sis, love you. Mom, love you. Margaret, I love you. I was talking to my nephew yesterday. He was asking me, he was like, hey, what about Thaddeus Moss? And I thought he had got drafted by somebody. I thought I saw his name, but maybe not. I was wrong. And then shortly after, my nephew texted me on the phone and was like, hey, we got Thaddeus Moss. And I was like, what? So great athlete, best blocker in the tight end class, Thaddeus Moss. You don't believe me? Check out the championship game LSU played against the Clemson Tigers. A bully of a blocker. They said he's regarded as the best blocking tight end in this year's 2020 tight end class. How about that? Also, he has great hands. He catches everything thrown in his zip code. So he's going to bring it home. He's going to bring the bread home. His senior year, he had 47 receptions for 570 yards, 4 touchdowns. 6'2", 250 pounds. Just awesome. Just awesome. I gave him a grade of A-, and he's definitely going to come in and fill the need. I just don't see Jeremy Sprinkle, Logan Thomas, Richard Rodgers, Hale Henniges. I don't know. I don't see them in what the Redskins probably plan to do in the future. I just don't see them, starting anyway. One of them or 2 of them will possibly be backups. But definitely I believe Thaddeus Moss will get plugged in and ready to go. And like I said, he's a bully of a blocker, and we definitely need that. And he's got great hands, and hey, his dad had great hands, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I'm just real happy about that. That was just like a steal to me, a steal in the draft. He was just right there, and we had a need for tight end, and bam, there it was. So that was a blessing, definitely a blessing. Redskin news: Trent Williams was traded. He was traded finally. The Trent Williams Washington Redskin soap opera is over. He was traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a fifth round pick. We acquired another fifth round pick this year from that trade. And we have a third round. Should have been higher, but that's okay. We got a third round pick for the year 2021. So we'll have an extra third round pick next year. And then I'm sure we'll get our second round pick back. So that's all I have. So once again, we are going to end this. Thank you for joining Pigskin Facts, History, and News. I am your host, Fred. And you guys give me a thumbs up. And I will see you next time. And on our next show, we're going to go over the offense, look at the offense of the Washington Redskins for 2020. And we're going to have a good time. So y'all stay safe out there. Hail Skins Nation. Hail to the Redskins. I say, signing off.